Hey yo, welcome everyone to episode 58 of Pumpfakes and Hot Takes. This is your host, Chisom. In virtual studio today, we've got the gang back together. So we've got the Kang himself, Venu, and we've got the zookeeper, Noble. Venu, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, bro. I'm chilling. My team just beat the Golden State Warriors. How about you?
I'm doing horrible.
How
My
you
team
doing,
just
Chisom?
lost to the Portland Trail Blazers, who do not have CJ or Dame, or really anyone. Like, it is...
God damn.
Yeah,
All the rest of their
we
roster.
got beat by pretty much by an NCAA team, so I'm doing pretty horrible right now. Nobes, how you doing, bro?
I mean, the same. I have no expectations when it comes to basketball, so I know you're not asking about that. And in life, the same. We're chilling. Way out here.
Nice. See, this week we have a lot of shit to get into, mostly because of the trade deadline. So this episode is really mostly going to be about the trade deadline.
Went down.
So we might as well just jump into it.
All the way
With the
went down,
biggest
bro.
trade, the biggest blockbuster trade that went down over this week, which was the 76ers and Nets trade. So obviously Ben Simmons has been disgruntled for a while. James Harden recently hasn't been himself. So both teams decided 76ers is going to get James Harden. The Nets get Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, 2022 first round pick, and a 2027 first round pick as well.
God damn.
Obviously, blockbuster trade. So I'll come to you first, Noble. Who do you have winning this trade?
The Brooklyn Nets. And I don't even think it's close. I mean, James Harden is valuable, but bruh. You know what? Just shout out to Daryl Moore. I feel like Daryl Moore is the best person to give a franchise to if you want to get a lot of fan buzz, but get nowhere in like your NBA championship ride. Because honestly, what the fuck? The man gave up Seth Curry. I mean, Andre Drummond is he's flaky. He could be good, he could not be good. But Seth Curry, he was a prime player for them, and he's going to be an essential weapon. And like, you're giving it up to the guys who you're going to have to play, like, in about... And I mean, it works both ways in terms of knowing team secrets and stuff, but I mean, it's worse when the other team is better than you, and then they also know what you're going to do because your plays and stuff... He knows all the plays you're calling. You're calling Rooster. Rooster is like, yep, back screen, yeah, he's coming, he's cutting tough weight. Like, it's not gonna be good. And at the end of the day, you get a Ben Simmons who I think is not gonna be he's not gonna have a problem assimilating in the team, first of all, because again, he's playing with the best basketball players in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And I think he has a point to prove to the whole of the NBA franchise, the whole of the NBA world, basically. He has a chip the size of Mount Everest on his shoulder that he's trying to prove that he, like, for all the whining and the bitching that everyone accused him of doing, like, he has a point. I mean, he got what he wanted at the end of the day, bro. He left his team and he went to an even better team. Come on, bro. So now he has to prove himself, and it will be very interesting to see. And I bet money that this nigga's mental illness is going to be healed miraculously in the next couple of days. I promise you're going to find him practicing with the team by this week, and he's probably going to be suited up by next week.
Vino, do you agree with him? Do you think the Nets won this trade?
I think they won it by a landslide, bro. They got an absolute haul in return for James Harden, bro. They gave up James Harden and they got back in return so much. They got back 2 picks, first rounders at that, and they also got back a guy in Ben Simmons who's so versatile at everything. For all of the hate that we give him, for not being able to shoot. First of all, 36 over under, I'm going over on the 3-point percentage for Ben Simmons.
36% on Ben Simmons?
Bro. Watch it. Yeah, actually, no, hold on. Let me hold my horses. 34. I'm going to go over on 34 for Ben Simmons. I think he's going to be shooting. But regardless, for all the hate we give him, that crazy picture of him in the East Finals passing up that layup and in turn giving him passing the ball off, it was crazy to see. And it made him look real bad, but he's a great defender. He's long. He's got a lot of different ways of attacking the basket. and he's a great passer. He's one of the best passers in the NBA. So the Nets have gained a guy who's not shoot first, he's pass first, with two players who love to shoot the ball. I think it's the perfect combination, especially seeing as he's going to be shooting 34% from three anyway. That's also going to be a great addition to the team if that happens. And I think Andre Drummond coming their way too.
Seth Curry coming in there.
I'm getting there. Because Andre Drummond also he's big. He's just, he fixes a lot of the temporary problems that the Nets have with regards to size. And as Noble was saying, Seth Curry is just, this is his career low season shooting from three. And he's shooting 40% from three, bro. He's a sniper. He's lethal. To have a guy like that on your team added on is crazy. And James Harden, who really wasn't meshing with the team, I don't think you've lost that much to gain so much. And I think the Sixers, they did well as well. They got back. I think if the longer they left it, the less they were going to get back in return for Ben Simmons. So I think they got back a star to superstar level player in James Harden.
Superstar. You better respect it.
His down year is 28 or 22, 8 and 10. Like,
okay, fine. I apologize for the disrespect, but a superstar level player, even though his star may be fading a little bit from where it was a couple of years ago in James Harden, it's still a great return for.
No, I'm just looking at Noble's face.
Yeah,
I don't know what. 3 years ago, this guy was averaging.
I disagree.
35, 10, and 10. Like
36, bro. He was averaging 36 points per game. He could never get near that now. Averaging that, no way.
He you know what? Here's the thing. I think the Sixers definitely gave up too much. Just because James Harden is disgruntled, yes, and so is Ben Simmons. I think this trade would have been fair if they didn't include those 2 first-round picks. Because obviously, I think James Harden is still a better player than Ben Simmons. So adding other pieces to kind of sweeten the deal and make the Nets take it, I definitely see why you would need to do that. But then including the 2 first rounders, I think that's where they kind of lost that trade for me. Because if you look at just the contract situation for James Harden right now, James Harden is 32 years old right now. He will be resigning, or not resigning, but he'll be getting a new contract probably by the end of this year, because he's opted into his contract. So at the end of that contract that he's going to be signing, he will be around 37, 38 years old, and that year of his contract he'll be making about $68 million.
God damn.
So for a guy who recently has been very injured with a hamstring, he's been putting on a lot of weight, isn't like his scoring has dipped. Even though he's still a superstar.
Oh my god!
In about 5-6 years, when that contract is coming to a close, he will be, as I said, 37, 38, making over $65 to $68 million. And you've given up 2 first-round picks. And if they don't win a championship in this 2-3 year window here, I think it makes this trade even worse. But honestly, I don't see a way that
he's tanking the team, bro. He's doing exactly what he did to Houston. Daryl Morey is doing exactly what he did to Houston to Philadelphia. They're gonna have to restart the trust process.
Ben Simmons was young, and he didn't want to play for them, so there's no way that he was gonna stay there. But what they've lost is a young guy, and they've got back quite an old guy, and Joel Embiid, people tend to forget that he's not as young as a lot of people think, because he did miss those 2 years at the start of his career without playing with injury. So his career isn't actually as long as you would expect it to be for someone his age. But if I'm not wrong, let me just make sure I'm correct on this. Joel Embiid is closer to 30 now than he is to 25. Oh no, he's so close to 25. He's 27 years old. And let's say in 2-3 years' time, if they don't win a ring, you've now got a 30-year-old Embiid, a 35-year-old Harden.
Yeah,
bro, it's
that's the thing.
It's not
exactly.
looking as good for the future as it used to.
Yeah, exactly. Because the one thing that they had the future, they had the youth, they had the trust the process that we're building. We're getting there. We have all of this we have this massive window that we have to explore and just get better and stuff. Now they've put they've put monumental pressure on themselves because they have to, as you said, win now. They've gone from taking it slow, figuring out, taking it just like going piece by piece into every single piece that we get now is into championship mode. Like right now, like this season, they're in championship mode. And to be very honest, we don't think they're going to get it this season. And if the teams hold out the way they're playing now, it's going to be very difficult for them to get it in subsequent seasons. So it really makes no sense. And I think it's just an executive making a decision when he's not probably supposed to make that decision because he's not a good enough executive. I don't think his track record has worked out for him. He locked out with James Harden. Because at the time, I promise you, like Darren, when the James Harden trade was made with OKC, nobody knew that James Harden was going to be that good. I mean, Houston didn't make that trade thinking that James Harden was going to be as good as he became. Like they got lucky with that trade, and I think since then they've made a few bad trades that have just not worked out, and they've all been behind Daryl Morey. And now he's come to this team, and he's trying to rehash the past, basically. But it'll be very interesting to see.
And I think Daryl Morey, he has made some mistakes in the past, and he's done some good as well, obviously. But I think it was him that fired Kevin McHale. I rate Kevin McHale as a coach very highly, and I think that James Harden would have been an entirely different player had Kevin stayed instead of Mike D'Antoni, because Mike D'Antoni got the numbers out of him, but he never really made Harden into a winner. I think Kevin McHale would have done a better job of doing that. It's speculation, but I don't know. I can't help but feeling that way. I think still, even though the Nets have won this trade, I still do believe that the Sixers, this is pretty much the best they could have got. Maybe they could have given up one less pick, but for a return like this, I think they've done pretty well as well. They've strengthened the direct rival in a way that can't really be compared to what they've gained themselves. So it looks really bad, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think they've done that badly. And just two quick
final points on this. James Harden, like as good as he is in the regular season, like we know he has had his issues in the playoffs with multiple playoff losses that have come in like pretty dramatic fashion, where he just kind of melts down the deeper he gets into the playoffs. And on the Ben Simmons side and the net side of things, I feel like this is probably the best place that Ben Simmons could have landed, with a team that is just equipped with shooters all around. And they've added Seth Curry as well. So you can imagine a five-man lineup of Ben Simmons, KD, Kyrie, Seth Curry, and one other shooter. If you want a big, you could throw in Marcus Aldridge in there, or you could, if you want to go small, you can have like a Joe Harris in the corner. And then that is pretty much perfect for Simmons, because the lane is wide open, and you have shooters spread all across the floor. Imagine a pick and roll where Ben Simmons is the guy setting the pick, and you have, for example, KD with handling the ball. Like, the options are very slim, because if you double KD, now you have Ben Simmons going down the middle of the lane playing 4 and 3. No defense.
You got a lot of options.
No defense wants to see.
A lot of options with this.
So I think the Nets let me take this one.
Can I just say something though? I just have to say this. Like, while we have to say all of this, like, while the Philadelphia Sixers don't have the greatest shot at the championship, I want to say that they do have a shot at the championship, because I was thinking about this, and the combination of James Harden and Joel Embiid can be very scary, because like the one thing that James Harden and his teams have not had usually is an inside presence whenever the 3-point shooting goes away, because I mean he's always been on good 3-point shooting teams, but then if you think about OKC, even though OKC was we're a particularly good 3-point shooting team, but we dived inside a lot. Like, we had explosiveness from Westbrook, from Durant. We had Serge Ibaka diving to the rim. Nick Collison used to do his thing too back in the day and stuff. Perkins, whenever he got his 1-2 plays to get his 1-2 points, he did his thing too. I think playing now with Embiid, he's really going to have a different dimension to his game, because it's like, okay, the shot's not falling, throw it inside, run a pick and roll. Like, you're running a pick and roll with the best center and arguably the MVP of the league right now. So I think like his game, James Harden has always been great. I mean, Clint Capella, the only reason why Clint Capella is doing what he's doing in Atlanta right now is because he was doing it first of all with James Harden in Houston. Like, James Harden is amazing when it comes to running the pick and roll. So now doing it with a player that is as skilled as Embiid. Usually he's doing it with players that can do like one move or two moves at most. Embiid has the whole repertoire, bro. He can literally go from diving into the rim to like pulling up for a fadeaway or something. Like, he can do whatever. While Harden, while the confusion is going over there, can go spot up somewhere and make a run. I don't know if he's going to make runs though. But you still have Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle. They lost Seth Curry. That was a big one. I don't know what Paul Millsap is going to do over there. Like, Brooklyn didn't even want him. I don't know what he's going to do. If he's going to... He might come in there and do 1-2 dunks though. You know, he has that surprising elevation sometimes. So, I mean, count him in for 1 or 2 highlights, but I don't think it really will add to their presence. But they're a good team. I feel like they're going to entertain us for sure, 100%. It will be so interesting to see how far they go.
For sure. Like, I think Embiid is definitely the best big man that James Harden has played with in his career.